what's up guys? It's Eric with FisherDrumming.com. Good to be back with you on the next lesson here. We're going to be going over 3 beginner drum fills. Now, my normal YouTube audience, I know normally we're not doing beginner stuff, but hang tight. We're going to be going back to the normal stuff like always. But I want to reach some of the beginner drummers out there that are looking to improve their drumming, kind of get outside of the box, start thinking about some fills beyond, the normal Pat Boone, Debbie Boone, or just 8th notes around the toms, and get into the more intermediate section of drumming. So what I like about these 3 fills is that they're all unique from each other, and we each are focusing on something a little bit different in each one. So I think it'll be a great opportunity for you to get some new ideas of how to use your limbs and different patterns around the kit. All right, let's get started with fill number 1. We're going to be using our hi-hat, our snare, our kick drum, and our floor tom. And what we're going to be doing is a hi-hat chirp or a hi-hat bark in the beginning. That's the first note we're going to play. And what you want to do is you want to put a kick right underneath that. Now there is a technique to playing this type of note on the hi-hat. So you want to try to open up the hi-hat a little bit as you're hitting it instead of having it open then hitting it. Okay, there is a difference in the sound. It'll take some time to work on that as a beginner, so don't stress about that too much. But just keep in mind, you want to try to open it as you're hitting it as opposed to hitting it when it's already open. So here's what that sounds like. Just has a nice way of going wow, wow. Now that's an extreme example, opening it up all the way. In this fill, it might be a little bit more useful to just give it a nice sizzle instead of an open sound. That's the sound we're going for in this particular fill. Just a nice little sizzle. Okay, now that's the very first note. Notice every time I'm hitting it, my kick drum is exactly at the same time as I'm hitting the hi-hat. So it gives it more presence, it gives it some oomph behind it. Now the next 3 notes are going to be on the snare. And what we're going to be doing is right, left, right. That's all we're doing. Now pay attention to how I'm articulating that. I'm not hitting all 3 of those notes at the same dynamic level like this. I'm kind of hitting them in a crescendo from softer to louder. So it's building up. Now after those 3 notes on the snare, we're going to be playing 1 single right hand on the floor tom on the and of 4 before we crash. So now that you see the big picture of the fill, I want to break it down and teach you how to count it out. It'll help you learn it faster. So this fill is a half measure long. And the way we're going to be counting that is 3 and a 4 and. Okay? So if you notice, I'm starting on beat 3. It's halfway through the measure in a 4/4 bar. Okay? So we're going to be grooving. We're going to be counting 1, 2, and then on 3, that's when we're starting this fill. 3 and a 4 and. So one quick tip to make it also sound right is when you close your hi-hat. You want to be closing the hi-hat when you hit your first note on the snare. So watch how I do that. Okay, that first right hand on the snare is when you want to close your hi-hat at the same time so it sounds nice and clean. Just sounds a little cleaner, and those are those little secrets that'll make your fills sound better. So now what we want to do is we want to play it nice and slow in a groove context so that you can get the feel. We're going to play a couple measures of groove and then go into the fill and just keep repeating that so you can play it along with me and get used to how it feels. fill number 1 was pretty cool, right? Because we're introducing how to use the hi-hat in a fill, and maybe that's something new that you haven't tried yet, but that bark and that sizzle with the hi-hat is something you really want to get used to doing. It is a new texture, a new sound, and it's a new voice that you can use in your playing and on the kit. Now let's move on to fill number 2. Now this one's a great fill. It's nice and big. It's a great rock fill. It's a great pop fill if you want to make a statement. It's great for going into another section of the song or setting it up with a pause, something like that. So we are going to be utilizing a couple more toms in this one. You're going to understand it easily, but you're going to have to spend the time on the kit to get it to sound smooth. We want it to sound smooth. We want it to sound musical. That's what it's all about. This fill, we're also going to be picking up on the 3 halfway through the measure, okay? And all we're going to be doing is we're going to be playing some singles, and we are going to utilize our kick in this fill as one of the notes. So that might be something new for you. So this fill, we're going to be counting 16th notes. Again, we're picking up on the 3, and all we're doing is playing right, left, right, kick, and then 2 hands together, okay? And it looks like this. Okay, so what we're doing is a right on the snare, a left on your rack tom, a right on the floor tom, a kick by itself, and then 2 hands together coming down at the same time on our floor and our snare. So I want you to get that down first before we talk about anything else. So let's play that a couple times together. Okay, the main thing, like I said, is making sure that your notes are all even throughout that measure. So 3, E, and a 4, all right? So what's cool about this fill is you can stop it right there on the 4 and rest the and of 4. So you're grooving, and you got 3, E, and a 4, rest, and then crash in on the 1. You can do that, and it would sound great. It's very musical. If you want to add a little bit of a pause in the music, or you're building up to a point and then you're going to drop right before you crash into the chorus, something like that. It's a great way to start utilizing a little space in your drumming. You don't always have to play something on every single note of the beat or every single note of whatever subdivision you're counting. Sometimes it's nice to add a little rest in there, and that's what you can do with this fill. But if you want to practice beyond just that, you can add a couple other things to just finish it off. If you're counting 16th notes, you have another 3 notes that you can throw in there. So let me show you some ways that you can finish it off if you don't want to do the rest. Here's one concept. You're going to add in another kick and a right left right before the 1. Again. And then crash. So all together. Now you can also do the same thing, but instead of playing 2 notes on the snare, you play the 2 notes on the floor tom. Okay? So a couple ideas there. Like I said, you don't have to utilize the pause, but there's a couple other ideas to finish it off. Now, as far as how we articulate these notes, notice how I'm playing them all big and open. We're not doing any ghost notes, soft notes in this. Pretty much everything is going to be played at the same volume, nice and big. All right, now let's put this in a groove context, play it at some faster tempos after you get it down, and you can see how it really shines and how it's more musical. like about fill number 2, just a quick recap, is the fact that we're utilizing the pause, and that's something that is musical that you can use in a musical situation, setting up a pause before the big crash on the 1. Or you can finish it off with a couple other notes, and then it becomes more of an interesting linear sounding fill. And I also like the double hand floor and snare for just a big statement piece right there. It's a bigger sounding fill that really rocks. All right, guys, now we're moving on to fill number 3. And in this one, we're stepping it up a little bit because we're playing a full measure fill instead of just a half measure fill. So this is in 16th notes as well. So we have 16 notes we're working with. Now, what I like about this fill is 3 things. First, it's extremely simple as far as what the sticking is. It's not hard to understand. You will get it quickly. The second one is we're utilizing all the toms, right? So it's fun to play around the kit. And the third thing is it's a linear style fill. Now, linear, what that means is we're not playing any 2 notes at the same time. Each note is played individually. So our kick drum, when we have a kick drum in this fill, it will be by itself as a note in the fill. And that's what I like about this idea of linear playing. It will open up a creative floodgate once you understand how to do these linear phrases. It could be simple combinations of your hands and your kick working together to create patterns. And once you put those patterns together, it can create some really beautiful sounding musical ideas on the kit. And I'm giving you a little taste and opening a little door into that whole world of linear drumming. So I want you to understand this fill and take your time with it because it's a lot of fun once you get it down. The hardest part about this fill is getting it to sound smooth, going back to what I said before, making sure that your kick drum is in time in the whole subdivision as we're playing these notes, that everything sounds like it's rolling and it's consistent and it's even. That's going to be the hardest part for you to get as a beginner, but I promise once you get it, you'll love this fill and you'll love this style. All right, so here's the sticking of the fill. Super simple. We just have right, left, kick, right, left, kick, right, left, kick, right, left, kick, right, left, right, left. That's all it is. Let me show you how that looks. So now if you notice, we're repeating a pattern 4 times, and that pattern is right, left, kick. We're repeating that 4 times as we go from snare, tom 1, tom 2, and tom 3. We're just going around the toms playing that same pattern. Again. Okay, simple as that. And then the last 4 notes is just right, left, and we're playing snare, rack, floor, floor. And then we're going to be crashing on the 1. So all together. Now the way we're articulating this fill is not difficult. We're keeping our dynamic levels the same, okay? Pretty much even, nice even notes around the toms. Everything can be more of the bigger sound here. It's a statement fill. We want it to sound good. Now these fills might sound a little strange, a little different when we play them that slow, but when you play these faster, you hear the real meaning, the real statement behind it, and it sounds a lot more musical. For example, a nice big traditional awesome fill. Let's just play in a groove context, right? So you can get familiar with it and then try to get used to that timing of when you start, when you crash, keeping it consistent. So we'll play it at a few different tempos. three fills aren't just for beginners, okay? They're actually useful and musical. So I think that you will be using these at some point or some variation of them. So I hope you enjoyed them. Now, before you click away, I want you to get another lesson, and it's actually a drumming masterclass. So it's not just a simple lesson on fills or a simple lesson on beats. It's a full circumference of drumming, everything from technique to rudiments to beats, fills, musicality, all these different things in drumming, and I break it all down over the course of 30 minutes. Now, the masterclass has so much in it, so we've had beginner drummers, intermediate drummers, advanced drummers, even instructors and drumming professionals that have been playing in the drumming world for many, many years watch it, and they've commented how they've seen a lot of value and how they've really enjoyed the training. So I know that you'll get something out of it. All you have to do is click the link down in the description below, sign up with your email, choose a time to watch it, and there you go. Free resource that you can take a lot of notes on and focus your drumming to another level. So make sure to take advantage of that, and I'll see you guys either on the next lesson here on YouTube or in the training, or I'll see you on the site where we have the courses available at fisherdrumming.com. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Take care. See you on the next one.